these doctors of the church, do they have an MD, a PhD? I'm just so confused about this.
Maybe it's half and half. They're checking your pulse and like, he's dead. And then the other half are like, aren't we all dying? The PhDs.
Oh. Huh. That would be interesting.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Catholicism and Coffee. I'm Stephen Gasinski.
I'm Beth Kaczynski.
We talk about Catholicism, all things Catholic, theological treatises, saints, and in this case, doctors of the church, which I already just gave away what we're talking about today, but that's okay. We're talking about saints and doctors of the church. So,
because all doctors of the church are saints, but not all saints are doctors of the church.
I was just about to ask you, what does make a doctor of the church? What are the requirements?
Okay, so there are 3 requirements. First, you have to be a canonized saint.
Okay.
Second, you have to make a contribution to the faith that is just very lasting and is going to form the future generations of the church. And often this is writings, but it could be a variety of works.
Okay, what's the third one?
And third, this is kind of the most obvious one, is you have to be declared a doctor by either the Pope or an ecumenical council, I believe. Now, so far, all the doctors of the church have been declared by popes.
Okay, so when was the first doctor declared?
Okay, well, this practice started in the 13th century by Pope Boniface VIII.
Okay.
Yep, and that year he first declared 4 doctors, and they're considered kind of the 4 great Latin fathers, or the OG 4, that's not an official term, don't use that.
Yeah, don't use
Yeah, but then that same year he also named a 5th person a doctor of the church.
Okay. So we're not going to go through, how many do they have, 36?
We're at 37 now. I think our most recent one was 2022 maybe?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So,
but we're going to highlight a few, including the first 5, OG4 plus the other one, which is St. Athanasius.
Of course. We can't go wrong with St. Athanasius.
Yes. Okay, so what do you know about our 4 originals?
Okay, so let's go over who the 4 originals are. Gregory the Great, who also happened to be a pope.
Yes.
St. Ambrose.
Very great saint.
Very great saint. Very prolific. Augustine of Hippo.
Yep. It's Augustine. Augustine is in Florida.
Yes. Not too far from us. Augustine of Hippo. If you haven't read City of God, it'll change your life. And Jerome. Personal favorite of mine.
So is he your favorite of the OG4?
Probably. Even though I identify a little too much with Augustine. Make me chase Lord, but not yet. Don't worry. I am now, but still. So, so those are the big 4, or who are the originals.
Yep, and then Athanasius was declared a doctor of the church in that same year. And these 5 men, it was mostly just their writings were very prolific and their teachings really formed others in the faith.
Yeah, even though Jerome was a little cranky.
A lot of smart people are cranky.
It's true.
Yeah, so these are the first 5, and then there were several centuries, or maybe 1 century or so, where no doctors were declared, and then 1538 rolls around and we get, I think, another 4 or 5. So who were the next ones?
So we have St. John Chrysostom.
He's a good one.
He was an archbishop of Constantinople, homilist, writer of scripture, and he is one of the is he the patron saint of parish priests? I think he is. Anyway.
It's one of the St. John's.
Yeah, one of the St. John's. Got St. Basil the Great.
Another great.
I believe he was also a pope. He was a bishop, I'm sorry. And he was called the father of monasticism in the East. He was a prolific writer. And he refuted some Arian errors. And if any of you are like, what are Arian errors? Look up St. Nicholas. And
we have an episode on him.
We have an episode on Arian errors and how one other saint dealt with it with extreme prejudice, aka clocking Arius. And then we got St. Gregory of Nazianzus, who was a bishop. Brilliant man.
So two Gregorys as doctors of the church.
Yeah, he wrote a lot of theology and a few poems, oddly enough.
Multi-talented.
Very talented, and then of course the great St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yes.
He was a big believer in the Socratic method of argument, and he used it to try to prove the existence of God and such. And his writings are everywhere today, and everyone's like, "Oh, we love St. Thomas Aquinas. Can you actually read him and understand him?" And no, not you, Tim. I know you can. If Tim is watching, I'm not apologizing because he would.
Yeah. So
Inside joke.
started with 9 doctors, and then for the 17th century, there were no new doctors named, but then every century since then, we've had at least a few of them named, and we're not going to go over all those now, but I do want to bring up one moment where that was kind of historic and prolific, is when our good friend Pope Paul VI named 2 women as doctors of the church.
And who were those?
Shocker. The Catholic Church doesn't hate women.
Who were the 2 women?
So he first named Teresa of Avila and Catherine of Siena. And this was in 1970, and if you're familiar with Teresa of Avila and Catherine of Siena, it makes a lot of sense why they are honored in this way, because they had great spiritual lives, they were both great writers, and they left behind a lot of knowledge and wisdom. It wasn't just, the typical nun who lives in her cloister and prays all day, and then she passes away, and, she's so great, she did all these things, but never left much behind besides her memories.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I believe the next doctor of the church to be named was also a woman. This was by our friend John Paul II. And she's an interesting one. It's Therese of Lisieux, which I think we are all familiar with Therese of Lisieux.
Yeah, little flower,
Yep.
little way.
Mm-hmm. Now, interestingly, she did not leave behind a ton of writings like, say, Thomas Aquinas.
No.
But her little way was so prolific and just changed our understanding of Catholicism that she was honored as a doctor of the church, and more power to her.
And fun fact, she was the youngest doctor of the church at the time of her death.
Yes, she died at the ripe old age of, I think, 24?
Yeah.
Younger than me.
Mm-hmm. Obviously younger than me. So, who are some of our recent ones? Well, 2012, which would put them in the reign of Pope Benedict XVI. We got Saints John of Avila and Hildegard of Bingen?
Yeah, there's only one St. Hildegard, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but so St. Hildegard is the 4th and final woman doctor of the church.
Yeah, but she was the first to live.
Yeah, she lived very early on, before Teresa of Avila, Catherine of Siena, or Therese of Lisieux. But she got canonized a saint in 2012, and interestingly, she is one of 2 doctors of the church that I came across who was canonized and named a doctor of the church in the same year, because Pope Benedict, I guess, discovered Hildegard or learned about her, and he wanted to name her a doctor of the church, but she wasn't even canonized yet, so he had some work to do, and he took care of it.
Well, knowing Benedict XVI and what a great theologian he was an avid reader, so he was always reading up stuff. He's like, this is helpful. Why aren't we? Yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
And then, who are some other recent ones?
Yeah, so Benedict named 2 saints doctors of the church. JPC only named 1, and so far Pope Francis has named 2 doctors of the church. And so in 2015, he named Saint Gregory of Narek, and then in 2022, it was Saint Irenaeus, I don't know how to say his name.
It's Irenaeus.
Irenaeus of Lyon, I don't know. And funny enough, our most recent doctor of the church lived in the 1st or 2nd century, so long time ago, early church, but just now named a doctor of the church.
And interestingly enough about St. Gregory of Narek, he's a brilliant homilist. He wrote all kinds of great theological treatises, so it's good that great theological thinkers and writers are being recognized as doctors of the church.
Yes, and I think we have so many great writers because it's so easy for writings to inform the church, because if you just tell people things, they're going to forget them. But if you write them down, they can be like, wait, what was that awesome thing you said? And then they can go back and find it.
Yeah, or they can just record it.
Well, now they can. They couldn't in the early church.
No, they could not.
Yeah. So think any famous podcasters will be doctors of the church many, many years from now?
Possibly.
I wonder if they do a show about coffee.
Probably not.
Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
So, speaking of future doctors of the church, we've got a couple who people are really pushing for.
Yeah, or they've at least been rumored or mentioned, and this was mentioned pretty shortly after the time that these great thinkers passed away. There are two most recent popes, Benedict XVI and John Paul II, which I think there's a great argument for both of them. They wrote a ton. They left behind so much knowledge and so much of how we understand and practice the faith now.
Yeah, both of them, we need to, canonize Benedict XVI.
Yes, maybe he'll get canonized and named a doctor in the same year.
Okay. So, do you have any particular people you think would be good doctors of the church, besides those two, obviously?
Yeah, obviously those two. And I'd really like to see St. Faustina named a doctor of the church, because her diary is so prolific and the Divine Mercy is such a popular practice among Catholics.
Okay.
And it's like, oh yeah, Jesus revealed all of this to her, but she had to write it down, and Jesus reveals things to a lot of people, and I don't think any of these spiritual writings were the work of just the saints alone. I think there was some divine inspiration.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what about you?
Pope Paul VI for Humanae Vitae and all the work he did at Vatican II.
Yes.
John the 23rd, who started Vatican II, and he also did some writings and such. He was ahead of his time.
Yes.
And then I would add a personal one. This one's really a little more personal, even though he's not a canonized saint yet. Hint, hint. Church, get your act together. Fulton Sheen.
Yeah, Fulton Sheen would be a great doctor of the church. Paul VI as well. He changed so much, and his stance against birth control and pro-NFP and pro-family.
Mm-hmm. And all the stuff that he just did.
Yes.
Just since then. And leading the church through a very difficult time in history.
Yes.
I'm surprised you don't have one other on your list.
Who's that?
Mother Angelica.
Yeah, I am quite a fan.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, she did leave behind a lot of wisdom and a lot of writings, and I think she'd be a great doctor of the church, but she's got to get canonized too.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a wise pope that'll just do both at the same time. He'll be like,
On the same day? Wow.
The pope has the cojones to pull it off. I'll be like, all right, pope. Good, we're getting some things done around here. Maybe our friends over at Catholic Talk Show, if either of them are elected pope, we'll make this happen. We should hit them up.
Hit them up and tell them all we want them to do when they become pope.
Yep. I'll write them a list.
Okay.
Yeah. Check out that episode. It's brilliant.
Yeah, we're not partnered with them. We just like watching their show.
We love their show. They make us laugh, and they bring some wisdom of their own. They're not doctors of the church. I'm sorry, Father Rich, but no, you're not.
Not yet, at least.
Not right now.
You can't be a doctor of the church if you're still alive.
Yeah.
That's just silly.
No, that is silly. We love you, Father Rich, but no.
Yeah.
Not right now. Nor Father Mike Schmitz.
No, he's not a doctor of the church yet either.
No. But who knows, maybe.
Maybe. He's done a lot of great work as well.
He has.
Yeah, so we went from talking about people who've passed who we want to see as doctors of the church to people who are alive we want to see as doctors of the church.
I did not say that. I'm just making sure they don't get the idea in their heads, well, I could be a doctor of the church. No! That's not how this works.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah, but it is, I think, a very great honor considering we only have 37 out of hundreds and thousands of saints.
Yeah, we're probably in a couple of thousands.
And I hope we see more church doctors, and I personally would like to see a lot more women church doctors, but I can also understand why there have not been as many compared to the male church doctors.
Yeah, because we got all the mystics and folks like that, and it's
Yeah.
just like, good gravy.
Yeah, and we have so many great women saints, we do, but a lot of them just didn't leave behind a ton of writings and things like that.
Yeah.
But they had great spiritual lives, they had great servants' hearts, and maybe they'll get their own kind of designation.
That'd be pretty rad.
Yeah. Are you going to change that when you become pope?
We're not going to talk about what would happen if I became Pope. It would be a reign of terror. I'm kidding. Mostly. Sleep well tonight. Because as a Catholic, as a baptized Catholic, I could be in the running. So, fear. It'll be fun.
No, you just be in your room writing and petting the cat all the time.
Yep. Taking the cat with me. Although, I don't know if you could fit in the papal residence. Actually, the papal residence is apparently very nice. It's like a lavish apartment.
Oh.
So we'll be fine. I'm bringing the cat.
Are you going to bring me too?
Maybe. We'll
Maybe.
see. We'll see. We'll have to see what the rules are.
You'll be Pope, you can change the rules.
I do not want to fight the traditions of Mother Church here. In the meantime, we have some cool projects coming up. We also, if you want to read some stuff from Doctors of the Church, you can check out our Saint Journals. It's 30 Days of Praying with Saints. There's a book with female saints and a book with male saints, and Doctors of the Church are in both of them.
Oh, yes.
So
got
definitely,
all 4 of them.
Yeah, all 4 in the female version, and quite a few in the males. So we hope you enjoyed our episode. We'll be doing, we're going to be doing a couple more, and then check out our Catholicism and Coffee website. There's a new, relatively new article in comparison to the last article. It's been a while, but we're still prodding them up. So check that out. Check out our Catholicism and Coffee shop on Zazzle. There's some cool stuff there. We don't have a whole lot from the Doctors of the Church on there. We're going to have to fix that.
Yeah, we have a lot more modern saints or religious.
Yeah, that's okay.
That is okay.
In the meantime, be bold, be brave, be courageous, enjoy your beverage of choice, and look up some stuff of the Doctors of the Church. You might learn something.